Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down one interesting research paper every day. Today, we're talking about artificial intelligence, public opinion, and a big question. Can an AI really know what you're thinking?
It's a bit of a sci-fi idea, right? Instead of calling thousands of people for a survey, what if a government agency or a researcher could just ask an AI? They could say, "Hey AI, pretend you're a 60-year-old farmer from the Midwest. What do you think about this new climate policy?"
Exactly. These AI systems are called large language models, or LLMs. Think ChatGPT and its relatives. And researchers are using them to create what they call silicon samples, basically a simulated focus group made of AI personas. It's faster and way cheaper than traditional polling.
But the million-dollar question is, does it actually work? Does an AI simulation of American public opinion actually reflect what real Americans think, especially on a complex and divided topic like climate change?
Well, a new paper from researchers at Arizona State and Stony Brook University decided to put it to the test. The paper is titled How Large Language Models Systematically Misrepresent American Climate Opinions, and their findings are pretty eye-opening.
So how do you even test something like this? How do you check if an AI is telling the truth about what a person might think?
It's a really clever setup. First, the researchers started with a real-world, nationally representative survey. They had the genuine climate opinions of nearly 1,000 Americans, along with their demographic information: age, race, gender, political ideology, where they live, and so on.
Okay, so they have the answer key. They know what real people actually said.
Precisely. Then they turned to 6 different LLMs. For each of the 978 real people in the survey, they created a detailed persona and fed it to the AI. A prompt might look something like, "You are a 45-year-old Black woman with a college degree. You consider yourself politically moderate, you live in the South, and you are religious."
And then they just asked the AI the same survey questions the real people answered?
That's it. They asked the same 20 questions about climate change. Then came the moment of truth. They compared the AI's answers to the real human answers, a direct head-to-head showdown.
So what did they find? Did the AI pass the test?
Well, the first major finding is what the researchers call compression. The AIs tended to flatten out the diversity of opinions. They basically pulled everyone towards the average.
What does that mean in practice?
It means that for groups of people who were actually not very concerned about climate change, the AI predicted they were more concerned than they really were. And for groups that were highly concerned, the AI predicted they were less concerned.
So it's like the AI just sands off the edges of public opinion. The strong views, the passionate disagreements, they all get washed out into a kind of bland, middle-of-the-road consensus.
Exactly. It shrinks the range of what people think. And that alone is a problem if you're a policymaker trying to understand the public. But that wasn't even the most surprising part. The real issue was in how the AI got things wrong.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
The mistakes weren't random. They followed specific and troubling patterns. The core of the paper is about something called intersectionality, this idea that you can't understand bias by looking at single categories, like gender or race in isolation. You have to look at how they combine.
So it's not just about how does the AI represent women, but how does the AI represent Black women versus white women versus Hispanic women?
Exactly. And the researchers found a perfect, glaring example of this. In the real human data, they saw that white women and Hispanic women tend to be slightly more concerned about climate change than white and Hispanic men.
Okay, that seems like a pretty common polling result.
Right, but for Black Americans, the pattern in the real data was reversed. Black men reported slightly higher concern about climate change than Black women.
So the relationship between gender and climate concern is different depending on your race. That's a crucial nuance. Did the AI models pick up on that?
Not at all. The LLMs used a simple one-size-fits-all stereotype. They basically assumed women are more concerned about climate change than men and applied that rule across every single racial group.
Oh, wow. So for white and Hispanic respondents, the AIs were in the right ballpark, but for black respondents, they got the dynamic completely backwards.
Completely backwards. The AIs systematically overestimated the black women's climate concern while underestimating the concern of black men. This is what the paper calls a racialized gender stereotype that's baked into the models, and you would never, ever find it if you just ran a simple test for gender bias.
That's a huge problem because the paper mentions that U.S. federal agencies are already starting to use these kinds of AI tools to analyze public feedback on things like environmental regulations.
Right, and if the tool is telling you that a certain group isn't very concerned, you might not bother with outreach to them. The paper found that very conservative black men were the single most underestimated group. An AI might tell a policymaker not to worry about them, when in reality their voices are completely ignored.
So these tools, which are supposed to help us understand the public, could actually end up silencing certain communities by misrepresenting what they think.
That's the core warning of this paper. Using AI to simulate public opinion isn't just a technical challenge, it's an ethical one. These models don't just reflect reality, they reflect the patterns, averages, and stereotypes from their vast training data.
And in doing so, they can erase the very complexity and diversity that makes public opinion what it is. It turns out you can't understand a person's view just by adding up their demographic labels.
The whole is different from the sum of its parts. And this study is a powerful reminder that if we're going to use AI to listen to the public, we have to be incredibly careful that it isn't putting words in their mouths.